December 8, 1542. Winter in Scotland was harsh when a baby girl was born in Linlithgow Palace. She was named Mary. Only 6 days later, her father, King James V of Scotland, died. Legend says that before his death, he whispered, "It began with a girl, and it will end with a girl," hinting that his dynasty had started with Margaret Tudor and now the crown passed to an infant. Imagine a child in a cradle who officially becomes a queen. She had not yet held a toy in her hands, but the fate of an entire nation already belonged to her. From the very beginning, Mary was a pawn in the great political game. England wanted her married to Henry VIII's son, uniting the two crowns. France also wanted the alliance. At the age of 5, Mary was sent to France. Imagine a little girl sailing across the cold sea, not knowing her life had already been decided by others. In France, she entered the heart of a dazzling court. Magnificent gowns, music, dances, art. Mary grew up as a true princess of the Renaissance. She mastered French, Italian, and Latin, played musical instruments, and wrote poetry. She mastered French, Italian, and Latin, played musical instruments, and wrote poetry. And then love. Her husband became the Dauphin Francis, a fragile and sickly young man. Their marriage was less about passion than politics, yet Mary cared deeply for him. At just 17, she became Queen of France. But fate struck again. Francis died after only a year of marriage. At 18, Mary lost both her crown and her husband. She had no choice but to return to Scotland, a land she barely knew. Scotland did not welcome her warmly. Harsh customs ruled here, and Protestantism was spreading fast. Preachers led by John Knox condemned Mary as a papist heretic. Mary, raised as a refined Frenchwoman and a devout Catholic, appeared foreign to her own people. Yet she tried. She hosted hunts, balls, and made speeches. She wanted to be close to the Scots, but their trust never came. To strengthen her throne, Mary married her cousin, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. He was handsome, young, and ambitious. They seemed a perfect couple, but soon his true nature showed. Jealous, arrogant, and power-hungry, Darnley demanded to be crowned king in his own right. One night, while Mary was pregnant, Darnley and his men stormed her chambers. Before her eyes, they murdered her secretary and confidant, David Rizzio. 56 stab wounds. Mary cried, begged them to stop, but they did not listen. In 1566, Mary gave birth to a son, the future King James VI. But her marriage was already broken. A year later, Darnley was found dead. His house exploded, and his strangled body was discovered in a garden. All suspicion turned toward Mary. People whispered she wanted to be rid of her husband. Then came James Hepburn, Earl of Bothwell. Strong, bold, but scandalous. Many believed he was the one who had arranged Darnley's death. And yet, only 3 months later, Mary married him. To her subjects it was unthinkable. A widow, still in mourning, marrying the prime suspect in her husband's murder. The nobility rose in rebellion. Mary was captured and forced to abdicate in favor of her infant son. She fled, tried to gather an army, but was defeated at the Battle of Langside. Only one path remained, to England. Mary hoped Elizabeth would receive her as a sister of royal blood, but Elizabeth saw a threat. Mary's claim to the English throne was stronger than Elizabeth's. Many Catholics across Europe called Mary the rightful Queen of England, so instead of protection, she was imprisoned. 19 years. 19 long years in English castles. Mary wrote letters, embroidered, prayed, but never abandoned her dream of a crown. In 1586, her letters were intercepted. They proved she had knowledge of a plan to assassinate Elizabeth. That was enough. Her trial was swift. Guilty. Death. February 8, 1587, Fotheringhay Castle. Mary walked to the scaffold wrapped in black. When she removed her cloak, the crowd gasped. Beneath it she wore a crimson gown, the colour of martyrdom. She prayed aloud, forgave her executioners, and stood proud. Even when the first stroke of the axe failed to sever her head, she did not falter. Mary's death shook Europe. For Catholics, she became a martyr. For Protestants, a traitor. Her son, James VI, eventually became king of both Scotland and England, uniting the crowns. What Mary could not achieve in life, her bloodline fulfilled. Mary Stuart entered history as a woman who had everything: beauty, power, love. Yet fate turned each gift into a curse. She was too much of a queen to be only a woman, and too much of a woman to be only a queen.